Hi, class. I'm going to speak briefly on what I view as an interesting tension in the nonprofit world, particularly these days. There tends to be a great deal of emphasis on the model of the social entrepreneur. And there's no doubt that it is highly effective and that social entrepreneurs, which I define as those who had achieved great success in the business world, and then upon achieving that success, expanding their horizons and wishing to give back, kind of noblesse oblige mindset to improve society. But, in essence, to improve society in those areas that they've perceived to be areas of, call it opportunity. So again, they're taking their entrepreneurial skill sets and applying them to social problems. Like I said, good model. There's certainly any number of success stories around that model. However, in my view, it's not the whole story, and it tends to skew the full range of nonprofit work, and I'm really speaking at the societal and community levels. And there's another side, and I guess not necessarily a side in opposition, but it's an alternative model, and one that's been around at least as long, frankly, it's been around a bit longer. And that is the model of the community activist, the grassroots organizer, those that may not necessarily have become successful in the private sector in business, but nonetheless also have a great social consciousness and are moved to improve society, improve their communities. And often that's their focus, is really literally on community. So these are the people who are, say, labor organizers. These are people who are working with the people in place to improve their lot in life, and not necessarily, to put it crassly, impose a model in a very patronizing way. That's sort of an extreme view of the social entrepreneur. I think there's an implicit critique there that, yes, they wish to do well, but they may not themselves be in among the people, lifting the shovels and doing the literal dirty work. They can finance a great deal of good work, but they're not in the trenches. So something to consider. These are both models, and I think both obviously have value to them. I think one is being overemphasized these days for various reasons. And that said, it might be a good thing to reconsider and revisit the community activist model and to see what kind of seeds they are sowing. For example, as I mentioned before, they have that long history going back into the union organizing days, back in the industrial era. And the manifestation of that now is the interesting work going on among fast food employees who have at long last have an opportunity to organize themselves. One of the insidious things about, say, a McDonald's is that if you're part of a crew, you are only part of that crew. And individually at an individual McDonald's, there is very, very little that you could do to improve your situation. And frankly, McDonald's is built on rapid turnover. They make their system idiot-proof and expect people to cycle through every 6 months, which is the average tenure of a McDonald's employee. But if you're really stuck in the job, if you have little prospects, if that's all you've got going for you, then it becomes another issue and it becomes a true struggle. So thanks to social networking and to this, again, kind of a new breed of community activist. We are seeing a new labor movement taking place with fast food employees, with Walmart employees, and elsewhere. Not so much in Texas for various reasons, but elsewhere. And I anticipate, while there will be a lag, you'll see the role of the community activist begin to really come into the fore. You can also liken this to the Martin Luther King, Cesar Chavez model. They were true community activists. They came out of those communities. They didn't impose themselves on them. So explore that. Consider where those are. They're not as prominent. They don't get on the news as much unless they are deemed to be troublemakers, I guess. But nonetheless, an area that I believe in the nonprofit world is worth exploring and again revisiting. Okay, so carry on with that. Consider again that tension, that maybe it's a dialectic, the social entrepreneur versus the community activist. Thanks.